News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. America's hiring spree rolls on. Employers adding 164,000 jobs last month.
The unemployment rate held steady at 3.7% for a second straight month, close to a 50-year low. Wage gains continue, with average hourly earnings up 3.2% from a year ago. The report comes as a reassuring sign that the economy will extend its decade-plus expansion, despite headwinds from trade disputes and a dim global outlook. Ben Thomas, Washington.
President Trump announcing plans for more tariffs on Chinese imports, citing the lack of a U.S.-China trade deal. Mr. Trump blames China's president.
Frankly, he's not going fast enough. He said he was going to be buying from our farmers. He didn't do that. He said he was going to stop fentanyl from coming into our country. It's all coming out of China. He didn't do that. We're losing thousands of people to fentanyl. And this was time.
While Beijing blames Washington.
The Foreign Ministry spokesperson, Hua Chunying, said Beijing would never give in to blackmail or intimidation from the U.S. She said the new tariffs showed how the U.S. was flip-flopping and those actions would face consequences. China doesn't import enough goods from the U.S. to impose the same punishment in return. Instead, American executives working in China have told the BBC they expect more red tape, more license checks, more inspections, and more harassment.
The BBC's Celia Hatton in Beijing. North Korea has conducted a third round of missile tests in just over a week, firing what appear to be short-range ballistic missiles into the sea off the country's east coast. Accusing Moscow of not honoring its treaty obligations, the U.S. has pulled out of a Cold War-era nuclear weapons pact with Russia. President Trump says Soviet and later Russian cheating put the U.S. at a dangerous disadvantage. Wall Street, the Dow, down 156. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The following is a true story.
My name is David Bryant. When I was 37, my wife and I decided to get term life insurance through SelectQuote. Just 3 years later, I was diagnosed with ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. Because of life insurance, the people I love most in this world will be protected no matter what happens to me. I know that the dreams I have for my family can still come true. Financial security, to stay in the home we became a family in, and for our children to be able to go to college. I reached out to SelectQuote because I wanted to share my story. If just one person purchases life insurance, I know I will have made a difference.
SelectQuote can find a 37-year-old male a $500,000 policy for under $1 a day.
If there are people you care about, you need life insurance. It may be the single most important financial decision of your life.
Don't put off protecting your family. Get your free quote now. Call 800-671-7070. That's 800-671-7070. 800-671-7070, or go to SelectQuote.com. This is a paid endorsement. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Not available in all states.
A bitter trade dispute between Japan and South Korea continues to deepen. An update from the BBC's Laura Bicker in Seoul.
Japan moved first, striking South Korea from its list of trusted trading partners. The announcement came just a month after Tokyo imposed export restrictions on certain chemicals Seoul needs for its tech industry. South Korea quickly retaliated. President Moon Jae-in condemned Tokyo as selfish and reckless. His ruling Democratic Party described it as an all-out declaration of economic war. Seoul is now reviewing whether to maintain a pact to share military information with its neighbour.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson's governing Conservative Party has lost a special election, leaving it with a one-vote working majority in Parliament as Brexit looms. It's the Conservatives' first electoral test since Johnson became Prime Minister 9 days ago. News and analysis at townhall.com. Congress is demanding answers from Capital One and Amazon about a recently discovered huge data breach.
The incident was the latest massive data breach at a large company. Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio and other Republicans have asked for a staff-level briefing by August 15th. Jordan is the committee's top Republican. In a letter to Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos, the lawmakers note that Capital One data was stored on a cloud service provided by Amazon Web Services. The suspected hacker is a former Amazon software engineer. The lawmakers also want Capital One to describe the scope of the incident and the company's response. Keith Peters, Washington.
Many Saudis applauding the loosening of some restrictions on women. Now, Saudi women 21 and older will be able to apply for a passport and travel freely without a man's consent. They'll be able to register a marriage, a divorce, or a child's birth. The mother can now be the legal guardian of children. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Good morning and welcome to On the Mic with Mike here on WHTM 820 AM 92.7 FM. I'm your host, Mike King, and I'd like to thank our sponsor for the show, Nicole Reed Real Estate. Buying and selling with the pro, Nicole Reed is the person. I appreciate you being here with me because you could be anywhere else in the world doing anything. So I really appreciate you being here. So join me as we uplift the community and showcase RVA in a different way. We're coming to you live and direct from the palatial studios of WNTW in booming Chester. This will be excellence in broadcasting, bringing you the value of partnerships, innovation, social enterprise, nonprofits, and business people and organizations making a difference in our area. Please follow me, my other brands, that is Mike King Biz and RVA Swag Central. Working the board today with me is Master Operator Henry. And you can reach Henry by calling 804-454-1366. So it's Mike King on the mic with Mike here on WNTW 820 AM 92.7 FM. So please call in, talk to us with what you have to say, and listen to our conversation. So today and every Friday, we also have our elevator pitch blitz. And that's your 60-second chance to call in and promote your business, organization, or event. You have a hard 60 seconds, so be prepared. But don't go too long because we'll have to click you, and we just don't want to do that. We want to give you an opportunity to shine. On today's star-studded show, folks, this is a game-changing show, and this is my third show, and I appreciate the folks who've come on before. Today is going to be something that's going to be exceptional. On today's show, we have CBS 6 morning anchor, Texas native, supermom, and now entrepreneur, Reba Hollingsworth. So how are you?
How's it going?
I'm good. So thank you for coming on the show. So we'll get to tell Reba's story in just a little bit. She's going to be here talking about journalism, her journey, as well as being a new entrepreneur. And folks, that's something that's different. It's something that you've seen and never really possibly thought about. We also will have Latoya Mayfield from the nonprofit Girls Impacting Science, Technology, and Mathematics. Not just math. This is mathematics. She's going to talk about the movement that she has going, and talking about how it impacts girls and young women as well. We will also have Will Roye, videographer extraordinaire, and we have a long history together with some of his work is outstanding that we've done, and folks who work with me have seen his outstanding work. But today he's here talking about Plus. That's his movement, and it's all about uplifting people getting together for a common cause. He says it's sort of church without going to church, and he has that every other Tuesday at the Urban Hang Suite. So we also have today, this is going to be interesting, folks. It's an action-packed show. We're going to keep things moving. We have a lady who's going to give us a call in. Her name is Denise Cosby, and she'll be here in Richmond on a book tour. And her name of her book, it's highly acclaimed, is The Murder at Harvard. And that's Murder at Harvard, regarding the murder of her son on the campus of Harvard University. So now, without further ado, please welcome award-winning journalist Reba Hollingsworth.
Hi, Mike. Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
So we'd like to just thank Reba for coming in, and this truly for me is an honor because, like I said, so when we got here, you were always the person that we watched, and I saw how you conducted yourself and did business. Every time that we saw you were so nice to me and my wife.
Oh, thank you.
And my wife says, hey, how are you?
Tell her hello.
All right.
Hey.
So now, let's get together. So tell us a little bit. So you're from Texas.
Yeah.
We've talked in the past. We were at Mom Michelle's Cafe.
Uh-huh.
Shout out to Michelle and the crew there. So tell us a little bit about your journey, working morning shows, and then we can go into your invention.
Well, I always tell, especially talking to a lot of kids doing this job, I knew probably at 7 years old, 8 years old, that I wanted to be on TV. At the time, it was Phil Donahue that I saw, and a lot of people, I teach at VCU, like, who's Phil Donahue? But that's who I saw at the time.
Yes.
And then I saw Oprah, and then when I saw Oprah, it's like, oh my gosh, there's this Black woman on TV. So for a long time, I wanted to be on TV and do TV news and change people's lives, because I think we have a great responsibility when we tell these stories and we can impact change. So that's what I love about doing TV news. And went the traditional route, went to school, got my degree in it, did an internship. But once you kind of do everything, you just think, oh, you're going to be on TV. But it took me like a year and a half to find my job. And it's to get out of that comfort zone
Yes.
where I got in my car and drove with my dad to every small market TV station in Texas and Louisiana to find that job so that news director can see my face. And that's how I got my first job, because someone remembered me from making that drive.
Gotcha. How long have you been at CBS 6?
I have 2 stints. So I was there from 2000 to 2005, left for about 4 years and worked in the DC market. Did a lot of bureau work, covered a lot of politics, worked at CNN's Bureau, Hearst Bureau, Cox Bureau, Fox 5, and Baltimore News, the NBC affiliate in Baltimore. But when we had our baby, she's 10 now, so she's not really a baby, we decided to move back when she was an infant. So I got my job back. That's why I always tell kids, don't burn bridges, because I had to pick up the phone and was like, can I come back? So
there is a thing that says you can't go back home again.
But you can.
You can.
Yeah.
You know, if you treat people right and you do things the right way, you can go back. So have you always worked the morning side?
I've done, when I first started in the business, I've done evening news, I've done weekend news, I've kind of done everything, but I just think morning is just fits my personality.
Okay.
And I like to have fun. I like to giggle. A lot of people know me from my giggle.
Yes. They do.
And I just think morning is just a little bit more relaxed. Yeah, we have some heavy news in there, but we try to sprinkle in some of the fun as well.
And so I think one of the things that does stand out with between you and your team is that it just feels comfortable.
Yeah.
For people. And I just really like to say a shout out to WTVR for allowing you to come, because I know that letting talent go wherever is kind of like, it's important. So just like to give them a shout out as appreciation for that. And Stephen Hayes.
Yes, Stephen is wonderful.
Yes. So thanks for allowing Reba to come on and grace the microphones here on The Mic with Mike. So everyone knows when they see women on TV, your invention. Give us a little bit about your road to entrepreneurship and where you are. And for folks who are watching Facebook Live, you'll be able to see the invention.
Yes.
Alrighty.
Yes. So it's called Aha Wrap because I think it's been my aha moment after being in the business for 25 years. So when a woman has to mic up, if she is in a dress, she has to run the mic up and then clip it on her shirt. So what happens to the base of the microphone clip? Where do you put it? Usually we have to put it on, I know it's TMI here, but you have to put it on your bra strap or your underwear. And it's just uncomfortable. And it kind of gives that hump in the back. Have you ever watched one of those reality shows? They're in these real pretty dresses and they turn around and you see the microphone and it's that hump.
Yes.
So I just kind of want to get rid of that because for us, it's just really uncomfortable. It's not flattering looking. I anchor a 2.5-hour show. And if I have to use the restroom, that means someone is unzipping my dress, going, putting their hands down my dress, turning my mic off, and then, zipping me back up. I use the restroom. They're zipping, it was just kind of too much. It's too much. So my invention is a leg wrap. So it's Velcro and elastic. You wrap it around your leg and your microphone, the base of that microphone can clip on that.
Okay. So now you could there's the camera right there. And so folks, you're getting, this is your aha moment.
Yeah.
And what people can see is everyone's seeing the person when they're facing the camera, you don't notice it.
Right.
But then when they turn to the side, it's always that. So, and I see that you've had some great response to that.
Yes. And, let me also mention that you can also get a monogram and companies can put their logo on it. So I launched my business November 14th, 2018, last year. So just a few months now. So it's not just for TV women. 2 Fortune 200 companies have bought it because think about the female executives who have to give speeches. We also have one school have bought it, just for their ladies who have to, professors who have to speak. And that's another one, speakers. That's a whole nother audience. I'm actually going to Toastmasters convention in Denver coming up in a few weeks because think about those female speakers on the stage and they want to wear a dress. There are some women who would change their outfit like, you know what, I guess I'll wear a skirt or pants today since I have to be mic'd up. Why should we have to change our outfit?
I think that's funny because when I was at CW, you would always see at NBC 12, people would see the folks coming in and they're like, okay, we have to mic you up. And they're just standing at that moment where it gets to the man's just boom, he puts it on. You're done, sir.
Yes.
The woman's like, maybe you should go to the ladies' room.
Exactly.
And so you've come up with the solution there.
Yes, because it's a little awkward, especially My station just bought 11 wraps for our photographers.
And we saw them modeling.
Yeah,
We
they
did
look
see
so
them
cute.
modeling
Yes.
that.
And because they sometimes may have to go do an interview by themselves, and most of our photography staff, if not all, they're all males. And so it's that awkwardness of like, where am I going to put this on this lady? So now they have the wrap. They can hand it to the person they're interviewing. That lady can kind of step away and go maybe to a restroom and just mic up. And that's that. It kind of takes away some of that awkwardness of how you're going to put that microphone on. And it looks better because sometimes a photographer may hook it from the back and that wire is still showing.
You see the wire.
So it's just a nice, cleaner look, and it's just comfortable.
So we talk about innovation. So that's innovative. We talk about entrepreneurship. What's been the most challenging part of it, and what's been the most gratifying part?
The challenge is it's a startup. So come with a startup is the finances, because you have to advertise a product. This is a brand new product out in the market, so you need the money to get out there. So that's the main challenge, and I have to, constantly. I have a job, so this is my other job and I'm a mother too. So just trying to social media has been great to use put the product out there on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. The most gratifying part is the number of people who are willing to help you. It has been amazing, even in the journey of putting this together. I mean, I created this with my seamstress, the lady who did all my alterations. I said, you know what? I got tired of fighting with my microphone in the morning. I said, can you help me come up with something? And I told her my vision, and we just played with the fabric for almost a year, finding the right solution, because TV women were using kind of your do-it-yourself things. We were using headbands, ace bandages, all that kind of stuff, trying to come up with things. And I just thought I can make something stronger and prettier. So my seamstress, we worked on that. Then that led me to another lady who introduced me to two ladies who have their product made overseas. So the guy overseas actually does my product, and his name is Ken. He is great. It's just amazing, I think, just how God just opened the doors to so many things for me. The number of people who are willing to help, even with the advertising. There's a man who came up to me and said, I will do your video for free. You know what I mean? So people have been amazing.
And that's funny that people are put into your path. So
yes.
From folks on TV, I know people look at you and they think that they know you. That's a very powerful thing. So when you're out in the community and you are out all the time and you support organizations, I know we had met through the Ronald McDonald House.
Right.
So when you explain to folks what broadcast TV means to a community, and from not just from the programming, but what it means as a whole when people look at broadcast TV.
Well, I think we're extension of the community. We're extension of your neighborhood. We're like, to us, part of your family. And I think people can call us if they have a problem, if they need help. And I think that's one thing I love about our problem solvers on Channel 6. I mean, our phone line is crowded, just have so many people, so many messages we have to get to, because there are a lot of people in our community who just need help, or they just need someone just to listen to them. And sometimes we don't even have to put it on the camera, on TV. We solve the problem just by talking to them, and it's fixed. I just think we just are there for the community, for the help, the telling the good stories. I know there are a lot of bad stories too, but there are a lot of good people in there that we try to put out to highlight in our stories.
It's one thing that you really don't want the problem solvers. TV is a megaphone.
Yes.
And you don't want the problem solvers calling you or contacting you. And so that's a lot of times how problems are taken care of. And I don't think people realize that when it's bad weather or events that take over the news, the TV stations scrap everything.
Yes.
And just cover that.
It's all hands on deck. Yeah. Because, we have a responsibility that part of that community is keeping that community safe. And I know, sometimes people get mad. Why you interrupt my stories or whatever? But if we have a tornado threat, we have to be on air. And we saw that earlier this year with the one out here in Chesterfield with the store with the tornado. That's our responsibility. That's what we're supposed to do to keep the community safe.
So when a person wants to go into, they want to get to be the next Reba, the Nikki D as a meteorologist or anything, what are the steps that a young person can do to put themselves on the path to getting there?
Internships are great. There are some kids who are in high school would call me and ask, hey, can I shadow you? You just got to start putting yourself out there. And I think one advantage that young people have is definitely your cell phone, the camera, being on Instagram and social media, just kind of being out there already, but definitely, but doing it responsibly. Don't do anything crazy.
Yes.
But also the internships are so good, and just being serious about this is what you want to do. I taught at VCU for intro to broadcast writing for about 9 semesters. And I could tell the students who were kind of serious and some who were not. And some of those serious students are working for us now at WTVR.
So one of the things, and I really appreciate you being here, that I'm going to do the Rob part later today.
Okay.
I mean, because it's something when you look at the power of TV. So some folks are going to call it a little later.
Okay.
They're going to do the elevator pitch blitz. But before that, we're going to have the lady who's going to call in. Her name's Denise Cosby. And so she's going to talk a little bit about her journey, what she's doing, and the murder at Harvard, about her son. So one of the things I like to do on this show is give a platform. Give a platform to people who may not have the platform to talk about the things that they want to do. It's a journey, and it's something that I like to do. So without further ado, we're going to bring in Denise Cosby. Hello.
Good morning.
Hi, Denise. How are you?
Hi, Denise.
I am good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. So we had a conversation, and so you're from Richmond, correct?
I am originally from Richmond, Virginia. Yes, I was born and raised there.
So explain, so you have a highly acclaimed books. Please explain to the folks who your book, and you're going to have a book sign. Tell us a little bit about the story. I know it's a tough one, but please give us a little bit of detail.
My story starts out in May of 2009. As I said, originally I'm from Richmond, Virginia. I moved to Cambridge, Massachusetts in 1988, a year after my youngest son, Justin, was born. In 2009, I was a resident of Cambridge, Massachusetts. We lived right in the Harvard University community. About 4:15 that afternoon, a news bulletin flashed across my TV set. It stated that a young man had been shot down on the grounds of Harvard University. I thought to myself, how tragic, what a shame. This was so unusual, especially in the area like this. Never did I imagine in my wildest dreams, a few hours later, I would find myself in a hospital chapel pleading and begging God not to let my son die. That news bulletin I had heard at around 4:15 was about my son, Justin.
Wow, that's wow. There's certain things you really can't even say with that. So you wrote a book. Did you find the book helpful to get you to the point where you can live with a little bit easier?
Well, I think I find that writing this story gave me clarification and provided purpose and understanding and acceptance of what has happened to my son. I write this story because my son mattered, as every other person's child does. And he no longer has a voice. Because of the location of the murder where it happened, it went across the media waves nationally and internationally. No one knew who my son was, so a lot of speculations, innuendos, and just untrue stories filtered the airwaves.
And can you
My son no longer has a voice, so I have decided to become his voice. And the media has told the story from their point of view. I'm his mother. I am now telling this story from a mother's point of view.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you tell me a little bit what happened?
What happened that day was it was the end of the school year. There was a party or parties planned at the end of the school year at Harvard. There had been rumors out for years that they had some kind of party. They said they called a smokeout party, where the students got together and they smoked a lot of marijuana. As I said, we lived blocks away from Harvard and have always lived in this community. My son went to high school right across the street from the Harvard yard, so he was very familiar with this area. He knew some kids or somebody in the neighborhood, I think, that sold some marijuana. So he took it as an opportunity to try to make some quick money at the end of the school year. I mean, at that time when he got that call. And he went up there, and somebody sent someone outside to meet him and encouraged him to come into the dorm, which is called the Kirkland House. I guess they thought it was going to be a quick exchange, and he was going to come right out. When he got into the dorm, there were two other people there that approached him with a gun, and they attempted to rob him. My son had no weapons or anything, and he started to run. And when he started to run, somebody started shooting, and he was shot in the stomach. And as he got outside and ran, he collapsed, and the next morning, he passed away.
Okay, so you wrote, the name of the book is?
The name of the book is Murder at Harvard's Kirkland House, A Mother's Worst Nightmare.
It is.
And so you're going to be in the Richmond area, some book signings that are coming up. Please give us information about that.
Yes, I will be in Richmond. I will be doing a book signing at Greater Hope Baptist Church on Venable Street in Richmond. And that is going to be on August 7th from 6 to 8 o'clock. And I will also be at the main branch of the Richmond Public Library on August 10th from 2 to 4.
So could you give us a little bit of information so how people can find out about your story prior to you coming to town?
You can also order my book online. My book is I have a book site, which is www.murderharvardkirklandhouse.com. That is www.murderharvardkirklandhouse.com. And, I would love for people to come out and just say hello, and we can have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is true. Well, thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And if there's anything, next week you're going to be in town, give us a call back next week as a reminder, and we'll go ahead and help you get the word out with my page. And well, thank you for coming on the mic with Mike one last time. Where can folks reach you at?
Thank you, Mike.
All righty.
I can be reached at www.murderharvardkirklandhouse.com. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for your time. Take care now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So, folks, we'd just like to thank Denise Cosby for coming on the show. That's a tough subject.
Heartbreaking.
It really is. And one of the things, so I guess writing can be cathartic to her, and she can get the word out. We're just about at the bottom of the hour. We'd like to thank Reba for coming in. And
yes, this is fun.
I feel like a journalist, a radio man here. What we're going to do after this is, so Reba's going to stick around, and what we're going to do is we're going to talk to Latoya Mayfield about Girl STEM, as well as Will Roye about Plus. And then, folks, it's your time to call in at 10:45 for the Elevator Pitch Blitz. And we're going to talk about what you're doing as far as everything goes. During this time, I'd just like to give a couple quick shout-outs of things that are going on in the community. We have the Get Adjusted concert. It's August the 10th. That is August the 10th, and it's down in, one second, folks. It's August the 10th, and it's down in Hopewell. It's in Petersburg. That's John P. Key, Donnie McClurkin, and some local folks, Antonio Tucker. Chiquita Cross is going to be doing that. So that's down. It's the Get Adjusted concert in in Petersburg. And then we also have the Latin Jazz and Salsa Show Festival, August the 24th. It's a free concert at Dogwood Dell, put on by Master and Son Lou Hidalgo. So, folks, we'd just like to say, stick around. We're going to give you a little bit of news. Got to pay some bills. My grandkids need stuff, I'm sorry to say. And we'll be back in just a moment.
Living on Your Terms is moving on up. Starting Monday, August 5th, join world-renowned business consultant, turnaround specialist, and our station's general manager, Bill Eastman, for Living on Your Terms. Bill will present discussions and insights on business news as well as financial market recaps, the only on-location farm market reports, and general insights on how to manage your life. Living on Your Terms right here on WNTW 820, starting Monday, August 5th from 3 to 4 p.m. Join Rusty and the rest of the Toy Soldiers the second Saturday of every month from noon till 2 as they bring you the Toy Meister Toy Showcase, sponsored by the Virginia Beach Antique Mall. Join Rusty and the gang as they discuss your toys, your collectibles, your memories, and what they all might be worth. It's the Toy Meister Toy Showcase the second Saturday of every month from noon till 3, brought to you by the Virginia Beach Antique Mall right here on 820 WNTW.
That ad you just heard, it could have been yours. That's right, you could have just heard your ad instead of some other guys. On AM 820, you can reach more potential customers, many just like you, who can add dollars to your bottom line. Our team will work with you to make the perfect ad for your business. So give us a call at 804-717-2000. That's 804-717-2000. Your first step to becoming a household name.
Hi, this is Tracy Lynn, executive producer at WNTW AM 820 and FM 92.7. Our station is called The Answer because we provide something badly missing from today's media: trust. Our country has fragmented into tribes who shout over each other. We cannot change the lack of listening, but we can start the process. A new programming is designed to move away from finding blame and focus on solutions that will make the Richmond, Petersburg, and surrounding counties a better place to live. Our approach is simple: finding the positives of the greatest country in history and one of the best places to live anywhere in the world. We are making that a reality by providing authentic voices, not talkers, but people who are doers, offering real insights in politics, business, and life. And this is done with attitude. We will challenge how you think, not tell you what to think. We know the media has lost your trust, and our game plan is simple: to provide a calm in a storm, a source to reclaim your trust. And never forget, it's 820 or it's not radio.
Welcome back to On the Mic with Mike. That is a shout out to Philadelphia. And that's going to be the theme for this, right? So weekly going to bring you something from, whether it's Will Smith in Summertime, but today it was the Rocky theme. That's sort of our theme song. So, okay, so folks, this has changed a little bit. On the side of the mic for folks who are watching on Facebook, this has changed. So Reba's on the side with me, and I'm acting like this is the morning show, and I'm going to play the part.
You're Rob.
I'm going to play the part for Rob, and you know, this is truly an honor. So it's good. So we're here, and we're going to talk to Latoya and Will. They're going to tell their stories, and then at 10:45, you folks are going to come in, call in, and then we're going to talk about. So Will's just on his phone. He's just Facebooking live. That's the way the young guns. That's the way the young guns do it. So Latoya, tell us your story. So what I got to you by seeing what you're doing in the community. Tell us about GSTEM.
So GSTEM is a nonprofit organization which stands for Girls Impacting Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. So we're a nonprofit that instill, influence, and also inspire girls that attend public schools that are interested in STEM but may not have the resources that are necessary to be successful in STEM. So that's where we come in. We're coming into the community and being able to give them the resources to be successful in STEM because we need girls in the STEM community.
And this is kind of personal, too, because this is like your own story, something that you thought was missing in your life.
Absolutely, because as coming from Richmond Public Schools and being a proud product of Richmond Public Schools at that, we did lack resources that, kind of affected me going to college because I felt like I was a little bit behind everyone else that had the different skills to be very successful in STEM. So I kind of felt like I was playing catch up a lot of the times. Instead of just being able to soar like the rest of the students. So this is very, very personal, and I know GSTEM can make a great difference in the community.
I have a 10-year-old daughter who does a lot of STEM. She was in a STEM camp this summer. But you're right, just the number of girls who were in these camps outnumbered the boys. What is it in particular you're trying to do to reach the girls?
So what I'm trying to do is being able to give them professional insight at a young age. So we can be able to give them the skills like being able to know how to use a pipette, being able to know how to calibrate, being able to know real life situations at a young age. So when they go to school, they can soar, and they can even soar after that because they have personal professionals that they were able to reach out to that will be able to help them even find jobs after. So this is a long-term thing. We want, even after they go through the program, we want them to give back as well. So this is always a give backing, them to give back just like we gave to them. So we want this to continue.
So what was there a model that you, so it inspired you? So that inspired you. What model did you see, or how did you come up with G-STEM, the name, everything?
Wow, that's a loaded question. G-STEM actually came to me in church. I was actually in service, and I was listening to the apostles talking about impacting and branding yourself. They were saying branding themselves for God, but God dropped into my spirit, girls impacting science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Mm-hmm. I remember leaning over to my sister like, God just dropped this in my spirit. And she looked over at me like, oh, okay. So I went and told my mom, and she's like, wow, so what do you want to do with it? I'm like, I think I wanted to be a nonprofit. And she goes, okay, well, let's go ahead and get to work, get this going. So we were able to make it a nonprofit, but I have family members that are in STEM that inspired me to keep going. And even when they were coming up, they had the same disadvantage as well, and they were able to soar. So that gave me the confidence in knowing that I could do the same. And I want to do that for others.
You know, that's great that you're providing the next step for folks, because sometimes people don't know how to get to where they're getting to. Absolutely. They just need someone to guide them and say, hey, you know, it's possible. Absolutely. It's possible that I can go ahead and get to college.
Absolutely.
And because a lot of times people don't know who to even contact,
and
what the steps are.
That's a big thing, because I know when I was coming up, a lot of times you think you can just go and get a biology degree and be able to be in the lab, and that's not so. Right. And so you end up spending thousands and thousands of dollars through college to get to that point, to find out that wasn't the degree that I was supposed to get to be able to do that. So then you got to go back to school and spend more money. So we want to be able to figure out what it is that they want to do and give them the right path to go down without having to go through these changes.
Right. Gotcha. So how can folks find G-STEM?
You guys can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and also Instagram at G-STEM Inc.
That's so good.
Okay, so Will Roye.
Yes, sir.
So we got history.
We do.
Will is kind of in, I guess you introduced me to the Richmond market as far as video and doing projects together. And for folks, your company for that is
Blue Media.
Blue Media.
Yes, sir.
And so folks, if you need video shot, and he's the man to get it done. But the reason that he's here today is Will Roye has started a movement. And talk a little bit about Plus.
All right, so Plus was something that was birthed from me trying to figure myself out. Plus stands for people like us, and it also implies positivity. So me as a millennial, late 20s, I found myself searching for my purpose while still trying to stay positive and make a positive impact on the world. And I realized that there's a lot of people like myself who may find that it's easy to get lost in society around that point in life. Like, you lose your social circles from college sometimes, your support systems, and you're really searching for like a place where you can meet like-minded people and do great things together. So Plus was birthed out of that. And basically what we do now, our first event is called the Fill Up. This is something we hold every other Tuesday at the Urban Hang Suite downtown Richmond. And it's essentially, like she was saying, it's kind of like church, but not in a religious sense, but more in a community sense, where you come together, you get fed mentally and spiritually. There's live music, there's spoken word. I have an inspirational talk, and then we do group discussions, and we leave filled up.
And the thing is, like you said, you get a diverse group of people there because you're trying to reach all different types of folks in the community.
Right.
And that's something that's really important. People think that younger folks really don't have that connection. I always say there are power in numbers.
Right.
And you've had a great turnout for that so far. And, you know, so how can folks get to fill up, find out about the Fill Up?
So the Fill Up is every other Tuesday. The next Fill Up event will be on August 13th at 5:30 to 8 p.m. at the Urban Hang Suite. That's on 3rd and Broad Street, downtown Richmond.
And a shout out to Kelly Lemon.
Kelly Lemon, thank you so much for helping us do what we're doing.
She definitely does help. So, Latoya, you guys had an event recently at that was highlighted. Please talk a little about
So GSTEM participated in the Summer Night Lights event in Hillside Court last Saturday, which is an outreach event hosted by Shepherd's Heart Evangelistic Ministry to prevent violence. So the event went on from about 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and there was various activities from STEM projects to different resources that adults can get for resume building or finding jobs, and it was a phenomenal event. And they will do it again next year, and GSTEM will also be a part of it. So if anyone wants any information about how you can contribute to Summer Night Lights, you can reach me at GSTEM Inc. as well on Facebook, LinkedIn, anywhere, and I will contact you with the proper people.
Where do you see STEM going?
I see GSTEM going so far. Honestly, I see it going so far because I have people reaching out to me from various cities, not even just in Richmond.
Wow.
So I see this going very, very far, and I'm excited. I am so excited.
sometimes your work that's out there. That's how I came across you, seeing folks who are doing things out in the community, and they want and need a platform because the things you're doing, it impacts. You never know. My wife and I, we kind of live and deal with the pay it forward model. You never understand how you can impact somebody's life. You meet a girl, and to you it's just an encounter.
Mm-hmm.
She goes away. It just changed her life. Today on this program, people are talking about somebody who is just starting a nonprofit. Will, who has it's just the fill up. Like, how do I feel better and find people who are like minded?
Mm-hmm.
And Reba's here. She's established in the TV business as a journalist, and then she comes up with an invention of something and getting the word out there. It's the power of media. It's the power of positivity.
Mm-hmm.
And I always talk about it's the power of partnerships.
Right.
So, Reba, when folks look at the morning show, what is the one thing that people come away and always want to ask you?
I think the number one question I always get is, what time do you wake up in the morning? So the question is 1:30 in the morning. So I've been up since 1:30. And then the second question is, what time do you go to bed? So I have a 10-year-old, so I can't have her go to bed at 6. So usually about 8 o'clock.
Okay,
so everybody's shaking their head.
That was a one-word answer. All right. Okay, so that is so. When as a journalist, how do you feel that you're just telling the story? How do you distance yourself from what you see every day to just reporting it? And I think that's always a question that people have.
I think for me, I don't distance myself because it's how I read the story. To me, they're not just words. It is somebody's life. It's someone's child, especially if it's a story about someone who had been shot. You got to embrace the story and feel it. I don't want to be too detached to it because it may not seem genuine or sincere. And I want to be real when I read the story, so I don't detach too much from it. And it can be heavy. The news is heavy. I think the one time I did cry on air was during Sandy Hook, because at the time my daughter was the same age as those kids, and it could have been her.
You do see that when you look at the news, that's something, and then it has the first minutes that they go through all the stories, and then they get to the lighter things.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things when people look at you guys in the morning, it always like, do they really get along that well? I mean, it's like you guys are.
We do. They're my friends. I mean, even, we leave work, especially Nikki D and I may talk, text each other throughout the day. The rest of the day, we text on the weekends. Something funny. If Rob knows I like something, he'll text me something. Oh, I saw this. You may like this. We're friends. It's like a genuine relationship.
And so.
And it's funny. His wife calls me the TV wife because I give him shade sometimes. She'll give me props for giving him shade.
I can, one thing, shout out to my wife. She's like, okay, when you go in there, be the best that you can be. Don't be kind of crazy, Mike. Because as Will would know, this isn't the part of me, like the whole in front of the microphone, in front of the camera. I've always been more the person who's behind the scene, but with this platform, it really gave me a chance to step out and run into and meet people and putting folks together. It's a big thing when a person hears you and they're able to see you and all of a sudden become just that person who is someone who's in the community.
Right.
Okay, so folks, this is the part of the show where it's my idea of the elevator pitch. where we're going to give a person 60 seconds. So the first person is going to, and some of these folks, well, a lot of these folks I know, they're community game changers. The first up, now, could you, Mr. Henry, the first person on the microphone. Okay. CJ Walker. Hello.
Hi.
Okay.
Good morning.
So
Good
folks, we
morning.
have CJ Walker on the phone. She is the force behind Metro Teens RVA.
Yes, and this morning I'm going to talk about our upcoming Richmond Children's Business Fair for March 14th, 2020. We just started registration yesterday, and we're getting a nice steady flow. Basically, the Richmond Children's Business Fair is an opportunity for our kids ages 5 to 17 creating their own products and services and selling it to the public. So this past year, we did have an event in March in which we had 65 youthpreneurs. And this year, we are expecting close to 80. So right now, registration is available on our site. You can get that through the Youth Business Exchange on Facebook, and you can get all the information there. And then also, we are going to have a fundraiser on August 23rd at Launch Trampoline. So bring your family out from 6 to 8 p.m. and up to 25% of the proceeds will go towards our venue rental. And you must have the flyer in order for us to get the credit. So that's what I wanted to talk about today.
Okay, so CJ, how can folks get to the Richmond Children's Business Fair? How can they find you?
Yes, so you can find us on Facebook, which is the Youth Business Exchange. And you can get all of that information on the website and everything from there.
All righty, appreciate it. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much.
So one of the things also about CJ is she has a son who has autism, and she's super involved in the special needs community. And she came up with the idea about the Metro Teens RVA due to violence that was going on. And so people see events and people see things. She's a person who did something about it. While we're waiting, folks, I have to give you an update on, so there's a group in Hopewell, it's called Disability. They have a free education and youth conference that's coming up on Saturday. And what they're giving away is laptops, gift cards, and things. So they are a group who helps with families with special needs, and they offer education. So it's August the 3rd, and what they're going to do is they're going to have seminars and games and fun for children. So they're going to give away free school supplies for kids attending, open to all ages, kids 1st grade to 12th grade. And parents don't have to attend, but, we'd just like for you to come out and support the effort. So that's Disability, and that's all one word, free education and youth conference, August the 3rd, 10 a.m. to 2:30, and they are down in the city of Hopewell. So what we're doing, Latoya, what's the next event that you have coming up for GSTEM that you'd like to let everyone know about?
Okay, so our next event will be our launching event, and that will actually be in October 6th at Wine Station. So we're going to do it as a fundraiser to tell people about our mission, talk about our goals and what we expect for 2020. In 2020, we will also have something called GSTEM Week, where it will be a week for girls to come in and be able to experience science, technology, engineering, math for a whole week. And we will allow them to present at the end of the week. They'll be able to have professional insight. They will be able to learn more about different STEM projects or different STEM careers. And they also will have hands-on projects that they will be able to complete throughout the week. So we're very excited about that. So those are what we have coming up.
Okay. Will, what do you have coming up?
Well, right now, like I said, we have every other Tuesday at Urban Hang Suite. We're going to have the fill up. So the next one will be on August 13th at 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Very limited seating. It's an intimate building. So definitely you want to get your tickets when they go on sale. You can find out more about Plus on Facebook. The page is just called Plus. And you'll be able to also be inspired every day. Just see positivity, and it'll help your life.
Okay, so Reba, I know you do a lot in the community. What's the some of the nonprofits that you work with or support? I know you and your daughter were just out at the Ronald McDonald, the thing with the pig.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, you put me on the spot. I can't remember the whole name that we do with lunch supper. Do a lot with Ronald McDonald House. I used to be on the board and then got a little crazy busy, but I still kind of do a lot with them. I tell their stories. My photographer and I, my photographer, Chris, his child actually had to use a Ronald McDonald House. And so this is our way of kind of giving back. And so we have an interview with the family that's coming up. So that's a big one. But it's various ones. Do a lot with breast cancer awareness. So working with the Sister Link. It's just a lot of things. So many people who would call like, hey, can you do this interview? Can you be part of MC this event? So I really feel a little blessed to tell a lot of these breast cancer awareness stories though.
It's funny because the power, and when a nonprofit is out, they reach out to you all the time saying, hey, can you help us? And I tell people from the sales and marketing side of it, and this is a business show as much as anything else. If you're a nonprofit and you're not finding the next, say, Mark Smith of Midas, a person who totally believes in you and your mission, you're wrong from a marketing standpoint of your nonprofit. You have to get the word out there, and you have to give some people something back besides, I mean, there's a feel-good story, but there's 1,000 nonprofits who are out there
competing. Yeah.
Everybody's competing for a limited number of dollars. How do you differentiate yourself from this person and that person? I mean, there's all the big nonprofits that everybody knows. And then there's got to be 900 of them that are out there you're out in the wilderness telling your story. You're sitting in church and you think of it. Next thing you have to do is find a way to make it happen.
You know, just sitting here, I just thought, oh, that would be perfect for Rob, because Rob does stories called Building Better Minds, where he goes into schools. It doesn't have to be the schools, but educational stories. And that would be perfect. And that's a way of, free advertisement in a way.
Absolutely.
And because you have to figure out ways to get your word out.
Absolutely.
Because at a TV station, you guys get PSAs all the time. I mean, every day. And people, we're going to have our fish fry here and it's for a good cause. Well, there are 50 other ones with the good cause. You have to be kind of inventive in a way to get your story out.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the reasons that this show and this kind of movement that I put together kind of works. It's social enterprise, that business can transform society.
Absolutely.
And so your business can make a difference. So you have a business, and people are including the whole business side. That's why this whole movement enrichment of the B Corps, businesses that are operating not just on the idea that we can make money,
right,
but how can we
back.
impact?
Absolutely.
Can we impact the community?
Absolutely.
So, folks, any other notes of wisdom? So, Will, how does a person, you start as a videographer, how do you go from videographer to leading a movement for Plus?
The funny thing about it is that videography initially was something I learned to be a skill that I could use to promote my views. So 4 years down the road, that's how it transitioned. So I still use my gifts to videography and editing, and I just use it to promote the cause, to get the word out there.
That's smart.
Awesome.
Okay. So one of the things, Reba, we talk about we were at Mama Michelle's, your daughter seeing mom on TV and how everybody treats you different. You talk a little bit about how that is. So when you see people in the store, they're trying not to look, but that's Reba right there.
Well, it's funny. She does not watch me on TV. She does not. But she kind of likes that I'm on TV. I had to go get her from Sunday school the other day, and I saw her with her friends, and she's kind of pointing at me, and she was just excited, and that the kids were excited that I, walked in. So I can kind of tell that she kind of likes mommy being on TV, even though she don't watch mommy on TV.
She dropping that one. My mom on TV.
Exactly.
You know who my mom is? Yeah, that one. That does come in handy. Yeah. As you get a little older, I guess the whole middle school and then the high school thing, and kind of like, hey, it does help, because you're able to, one of the things as a parent you want to do is expose your kids to things to help them. And sometimes it's not just your kids. Sometimes it's somebody in the community. You have a STEM program for girls.
Right.
And then all of a sudden there's one girl who's just sitting there. She had never met anybody who could help her with her dream.
Right.
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden this woman named Latoya shows up, and she had an idea. It was crazy enough. And her mom said, go do it.
Absolutely.
And now she's out there doing that. Well, that's one of the good things about this is I see you guys, that I saw you across the landscape, and you're out there doing good. Reba, always appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Coming on. And so one of the things we're just about out of time. And one of the things I got to give a shout out to my wife. Hey, baby, I'm on the way. Because, so all of a sudden we're watching the grandkids now. And so we have 3, 6, and 8.
Oh my!
Now I understand now the whole baby shark thing that I didn't before, and now I understand the horrors of Fortnite.
Oh,
and those are things that when typically people know what they know. And me and my wife, we were called the mature millennials. We were just the folks out and about, just having a good time. And all of a sudden, our son comes back, and now we have grandkids here, and it just changes the things. All of a sudden, I'm going down aisles in the grocery store that hadn't looked at those aisles for a very long time.
Right.
And all of a sudden, kids now than when we raised our kids. They're a little different now.
Kids are different.
Yeah, you got to do some reasoning before. We didn't have to do that before, and so society has changed. And so, I just want to give a shout out to my wife about that and on my way to help with the burden. that is true. Oh, folks, you know what? There's another group that really just started. It's called Boss Up RVA, and it's a group of women who really are trying to make a difference with collaborating with each other. And it was started by Mrs. Brewer of I'm trying to think of the name of the security. Omega Securities. So Tony and Demetra Brewer. And so she started Boss Up RVA. And so you're a part of.
I'm part of Boss Babes.
Boss Babes.
Yes, Boss Babes.
See, there's a whole bunch of boss groups.
So shout outs to Boss Babes.
Shout out to the Boss Babes.
I do Boss Babes too.
Oh, awesome.
And what it is so it's a group. I guess people always look at there's power in numbers and finding people.
And support.
Absolutely.
Sometimes if someone would put on there, how do I go about getting via LLC or becoming an LLC? Just that information that you can just share, or even if it's just a problem or something.
There's so Richmond really is big in the whole Richmond ecosystem. So there's a whole group down there. And so on my TV show, it's called RVA Swag Central. What we do is we put people together in locations that are different. So as I said before, we filmed a couple weeks ago at the American Civil War Museum. And we had people like, I don't know about going to that place, but it's something that people found interesting. So we put together Friendship Circle came, Pride Virginia, Black Connections. Oh yeah, shout out to Black Connections. Sandra Wilson is a master at helping people with social media. She has 71,000 Instagram followers.
Wow.
And she's here in Richmond, and she's working to uplift the community. And I just wanted to give a shout out to her as far as from a business standpoint, because in Richmond, Richmond Innovation is one of the sponsors of the TV show, and Startup Virginia. So I always tell people there are resources if you are launching your business or you want your business to do something. It's your idea, but somebody else had that same idea and question. They had a question that you think I'm not going to ask that question. And you could go to Google, but there's a person who there's a group of people and there's a power and an energy in numbers.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, so whether it's a Boss Babes group or whether it's some other type of a support group, Richmond is fertile with that. So how have you find the Richmond startup business scene?
And, it's been good, but some of mine have been organizations like you were mentioning, but also just people I've met with stories has just been amazing. Just someone who I interviewed could give me information on something. I'm interviewing them on one story and then it leads to something else. So I think it goes back to exposure. This job is so beneficial where you're exposed to so many people from so many walks of life.
It is. It is the power. You get people coming through the doors of the TV station. So, folks, we're just about ready. We're wrapping the show up. I'd just like to thank Latoya for coming in and G-STEM. And, so we'll keep on. We'll stay in touch. Make sure you stay a friend of the program. Will Roye from Blue Media as well as Plus.
Appreciate you having me on.
And also a huge mega shout out and a thank you to Reba for having us.
Oh, glad to be here. Thank you.
And I get to play the part of Rob.
Yes.
So, all right, folks.
And he just texted me too.
Did he? Oh, well, just shout out to the whole morning crew at WTVR. And thanks again to the station. So, folks, this is On the Mic with Mike. We're here on WNTW 820 92.7. The show may be moving to afternoons next week. I just want to let everybody know. But what we are is we just like to say, oh, Tracy Lynn just showed up. And so it's all home week. So, folks, we just like to say thank you for tuning in and follow my brands, Mike King Biz, as well as On the Mic with Mike and RVA Swag Central. And with that, we're out.
Peace.